in Scotland at the moment?
Yeah, we're in Kinross.
Ah, near Loch Leven, isn't it? Yeah, Loch Leven around there.
Well, absolutely, yes, which is very beautiful, actually. I mean,
Yeah,
actually, this part of Scotland is rather lovely. We drove over from Glasgow to Dundee yesterday, and that's a fabulous road.
yeah.
So rather spectacular. You
Hmm.
forget how beautiful this part of the country is.
Yeah, yeah.
There's not many people living here, but
No, well, and I think they'd like to keep it that way. But I just
yeah.
noticed talking of Scotland on your Twitter feed, you had some of the gigs you played around 1978 or something, and you had things like you mentioned Scotland, like Tiffany's in Edinburgh. Do you remember a lot of those old gigs that you played?
I remember some of them, but it's difficult to remember all of
Mm,
them. Yes, it's kind of it's 40 years ago
mm,
now. It's been quite a few gigs between then and now. So I remember quite a lot more than I used to think I could. I mean, I was talking to somebody yesterday actually about because he said when were you last here, and I said, well, I do remember playing the Edinburgh Playhouse. And the reason why I remembered it was because it was one of the few gigs at that time when we played to an audience that was sitting down. Because most of the people we played to were sort of standing up in a pub or something in the
mm,
late 70s. Um, you remember certain things for certain reasons.
yeah. And those early days, before Sultan of Swing, etc. Was there any time which you thought, I'm not sure we're going to make it, or was it always never in doubt?
I don't think we, I don't think we were thinking about uh, making it or not making it. I think it's when you put a band together like that, there's something. It just feels okay. It feels good, and you realise that you're probably doing because we were probably pretty much against the grain. Actually, we had a certain style, which in some ways, looking back, probably put us in a pretty strong position because we tended to stand out from all the other stuff that was going on. And it certainly wasn't intentional. It was just what happened when we played together. So I don't think we weren't really thinking of global success or even getting on the radio in the UK. We were just sort of a band that went out and played the local pubs and clubs and we got found out really. Somebody discovered us and said, "Oh, that sounds all right. Do you want to make a record?" So it's I think it's probably different for every band. You know what actually makes things come together in the end.
And I believe you're getting Hall of Fame status, or is that right?
Well, this came up about three weeks ago. I think we got a notification that we were being put forward. I think where people could vote. There's a number of people put forward that everybody could tick a box against, and we were one of quite a few. And mind you, it is the first time that we've been actually nominated. So I think I'm sort of treating it a bit like the Oscars at the moment. It's very nice to be nominated. We'll
Yes.
see what happens after that.
And you have to put your
No,
game
it would be
face
lovely
on.
if it happened.
Yeah.
It'd be very nice if it happened. I have to say, it'd be very
Yeah.
nice.
And do you feel when that somebody told me that? Do you because I sort of leapt on there from the 70s right to 2017? But do you feel that Dire Straits, for all your success, hasn't got the sort of artistic credit that you should have?
I don't know about that. I think that because I think in some ways you've got to see the way the whole music industry now works. It is an industry, and we didn't really fit into how people conceive of the pop world as such. We were very much an album band. We were very much a live touring band, and I think that we sold quite a number of records, despite the fact that the music industry really didn't know why. Now, you have to ask yourself the question whether the music industry really knows much about music when these things happen. And I think that a lot of people involved in the music industry don't really know what works and what doesn't next week, but that's the way they operate. Now, Dire Straits operate in that world, so it's really been one of those bands that the thing is, you've also got to realise the fact that the band was global. It wasn't just big in England, and this is in the 70s. That was quite a thing to be global, and if anybody could explain how this works, I don't know. All I know is that somehow or other, an awful lot of people got touched by the band, which was a wonderful thing. And so we had a remarkable journey. And it's one of the lovely things about coming out and playing now. I mean, I'm really sort of putting my toe in the water in a sense with this band and just seeing, how things go. So that's why we're playing sort of fairly modest places to start off with, because you never know what's out there, really. But one thing that's been really lovely is to meet an awful lot of people who have done the whole journey of all those years from the very beginning to where we are now, and still love listening to the music. And that gives me an awful lot of pleasure to actually put a band together of this caliber, because it is a very, 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 very good band, this. And I recommend it to anybody. I'm not trying to sell it, but all I can say is this is a fantastic band, and you won't see the like of this for a while. Is that people really love hearing not just the old songs, but also the new stuff that I've written. And there's one great thing about playing live, and that's why it's a bit of a drug, is that you get this lovely feedback between, this relationship between the audience and the musicians. And it's a wonderful thing. It makes you want to go out and play again.
So what last night in Dundee? Sort of did you get a good feedback from that new stuff you're playing there?
Fantastic. I've got to have a new album come out last year. It was May or June last year, called Long Shadows, and people seem to really like it actually. And the songs fit very, very well with the Dire Straits material. So there's probably a good reason for that. I mean, I was there.
Yes.
I was there all the time, so I kind of know how the stuff should feel. And so, the way that I write has a Dire Straits kind of element to it, despite the fact that Mark isn't playing the guitar and singing. There's a certain feeling to it, which is very, I think, probably recognisable.
When you said dip your toe in the water regarding the high quality band and playing smaller venues, does that mean that after this tour you may reflect on play bigger venues, or do you have other plans?
Well, I think we just have to see what happens. When I go to Europe, I play in much bigger places. It's quite interesting, really. I mean, in France, we're playing in front of over 1,000 people, and the same in Holland and Germany and such like. So it's quite interesting. As I say, putting your toe in the water to the English sort of circuit again. I would just see what happens. I'm very open to anything. But I'm very proud of this band, and it's probably the best thing that I've done for some considerable time, actually.
So next Wednesday you are playing Harlow Playhouse, so you would recommend naturally people coming along to see you. They'll get a good concert, John.
Well, I don't know when I'm going to come around again. But no, we play for over 2 hours. We have a break in the middle, which but we do 2 sets, and they'll get over 2 hours. Actually, it's going to get about 2 hours 10 at the moment. So yeah, it's good. I recommend it. That's all I can say. And I'd go and see us.
Well, that sounds high.
That doesn't sound too bad.
No, that's a recommendation enough. So.
Well, I've got if anybody's heard of Robbie McIntosh, they should just come and watch him play the guitar, because he is one of the greats, without a doubt.
Who did Robbie McIntosh play with?
Well, he's played with McCartney.
Yeah.
He was with the Pretenders for years. Tom Jones, you name it. I mean, he's done some stuff with Mark. He played with the Straits when Mark and I did some charity stuff in 2001. And Paul Stacey's no slouch either. He's from the Black Crows and played with the Oasis for a bit. And, so there's some good quality people in this band.
Well, we look forward to seeing you next Wednesday in Harlow, John. And thank you very much for your time.
That's a pleasure. Nice to talk to you.
Brilliant.
Okay.
Brilliant.